It's 2025, and do you want to break 100, 90, 80, or even 70 this year? Let's use your numbers to make that happen. The secret to scoring better this year isn't more practice, it's smarter practice using your stats. Let's talk about your stats, how you can keep track of them, make the necessary adjustments to reach your goal in 2025. Hey everybody, this is Tony of the future. I just wanted to let you know this video took a long time to edit. So I know this isn't a video that we normally cover, but if you're not going to stick around, do me a quick favor, hit that like for me. Share this if you know somebody that could use this help, because this will help you get to your goals for the 2025 season. I appreciate your support. Let's get going. If you were going to look at the PGA Tour.com's statistic page, you might get a little lost. Basically, it comes down to what they've coined as now strokes gained, and this is basically telling you how you are compared to the average of the field. They break it down into how you are off the tee, how you are when you approach the green, how you are when you are around the green, and then your putting. They combine it all in together and they give you your strokes gained average. This also encompasses your distance control, your accuracy, how well you get up and down in putting. So it's a glorified way of just keeping basic stats, but they need this to figure out how to practice correctly. So I am guessing most of you do not take statistics, but let's just talk about what statistics you need to take depending on how good of a golfer you are. So here's Scotty Scheffler's statistics, and obviously best golfer in the world. They take very detailed statistics. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and take statistics like this, because these guys and girls do it for a living and they have to know what they need to improve upon their craft, because their livelihood depends on it. Where you and I, we just need some basic statistics, but how basic do we need? Okay, I get it. So the PGA Tour keeps stats for Africa, but what do we need to know about our statistics? Well, here's a quick breakdown for you. Tour players hit 70 to 75% of their fairways in regulation. Greens in regulation is 65 to 75. So if you want to think about this, 3/4, 2/3. So 3/4 of the fairways, 2/3 of the green is about the average. The average putts in the round for the best in the world, 28 to 29. So scratch to 10 handicap. We see the fairways hit drop down 50 to 60%. Greens in regulation drop down 40 to 60%. And your average putts 30 to 32. 11 to 15 handicap, your fairways are 45 to 55. Greens in regulation are 30 to 40%. Average putts per round 31 to 34. 16 to 25 handicap, your fairways are 35 to 45%. Greens in regulation are 20 to 30%. And your average putts 33 to 35. 26 and above, this is considered a newer player. Fairways hit 25 to 35%. Greens in regulation, you can see, is 10 to 20%. Your average putts per round, 34 to 36. The biggest indicator for success is hitting the fairways. That is what separates the best in the world from us. They just hit more fairways, but when they hit more fairways, they get a much better lie, which allows them to control the spin rate, to hit these greens and hold them, which is basically what you need to focus on. So let's talk about the main statistics for each of these brackets on how to get better in your game and beat your goal for 2025. That's my goal, to help you beat it. So what should we focus on? 0 to 10 handicaps. Let's talk about you guys, advanced amateurs. You're probably looking to secure your low round career loan, maybe possibly go below 70 for the first time. Focus on your fairways hit. You have to hit more fairways. This means clubbing down, making sure you hit more fairways. I just played 3 days ago and all I hit was 4 irons off the tee. I didn't miss one fairway. It made my life so much easier. I was able to hit a good amount of greens and putt my way to a smooth 77. It was okay for me for not playing for a long time. So it is all about getting that ball in play as soon as you can. Take less club if needed. Greens in regulation, you've got to get 50 to 60% of these greens to allow you to get these golf balls in the hole sooner. 30 putts or less is your goal, and you need to focus on improving the short game. For when you do miss the green, you have to capitalize on your short game to hold your whole game together. 10 to 15 handicaps, my intermediate golfers. You could be looking to break 80 for the first time, or at least consistently shoot in the mid 80s. You need to get 40 to 50% of these golf balls in the fairway, which allows you now to get 35 to 45% of these greens in regulation. You have to keep your putts under 34, so still focus on developing short game, specifically with putting. You are looking to reduce penalty strokes, which is out of bounds in the pool, unplayable lies. And how do we do that? We control our tee shots. So don't take out driver every single time. What I suggest you do is look at the pin and play backwards. If the hole's 400 yards, there's no reason to take out a driver and try and pound it as hard as you can. I would prefer you to take a club that's a little bit shorter and at least give you a shot to approach the angle of the pin. So if the pin is cut back left, aim to the right side of the fairway, open up that green so then you can run it up further if you need to hit a longer club for the second shot. Start to think more around your golf course. Let's jump to the 16 and 24 handicappers. This is probably the average golfer out there watching. You might be looking to break 90. You might be looking to shoot high 80s, maybe get your higher rounds to be under 100 all the time. Whatever your goals are, you've got to get these golf balls in the fairway. So the more you can do this, the more it allows you to get these greens and regulations. So shoot for 25% to 35% of your greens and regulations. This is 18 holes. So if you can get 4 to 5 greens and regulation, you're on track. Now, if we jump that to 5 to 6, 6 to 7, you're going to be bumping up there. And how do we do that? By getting the golf ball in the fairway first. You got to focus on reducing those 3 putts, less than 36 putts per round. And just as usual, you've got to minimize these bad shots in the pool, out of bounds. You've got to play away from out of bounds. Let's say out of bounds is on the right side. You know you play a slice. You're going to miss it right. Aim way left. Even if it's a different fairway, keep this ball in play and away from the big numbers. My 25 and above. Brand new golfers, maybe looking to break 100 for the first time. Get the ball in the fairway. It's probably not going to be as consistent, so I don't recommend hitting driver 3-wood. Just hit irons off the tee. Get yourself in the fairway. Get used to hitting irons off the tee until you can get more fairways, and try to eliminate as many 3 putts and 4 putts as you can. So spend a lot of time in the practice green, working on distance control. When you do your practice, put a bunch of golf balls around the green and see how many you can get up and down, different lies, different angles. Don't always do the same shot over, because we never get the same shot in golf twice. You have to get your imagination up there and just avoid big mistakes. So keep that stroke gain garbage for the tour players. Let them focus on that. My low handicapper, 0 to 10, you've got to work on greens and regulation and putting. But where does that come from? Fairways. Get the ball in the fairway more. Mid handicappers, you've got to get more consistent and avoid the big penalties. The high handicappers, you got to get used to the ball more in the fairways, greens and regulation. Start thinking about those statistics and reducing your major errors. For my beginners out there who are just starting this game, welcome to the game, but focus on keeping the ball in play. Stay away from it. Don't even buy a driver yet. Just hit a 5-6 iron off the tee. Get used to being in the fairway. This should help you get to your goals. But let's talk about how do you keep your statistics, because there's so many things out there to help you keep them. I've got a pretty easy Excel spreadsheet. And yes, I'm old school. I still use Excel. And if you want this, Tony at LionGolfAcademy.com. I'll send it to you for free. Don't worry about it. We're not going to do some snake oil salesman stuff here. This is just to help you. So let's bring it up. Okay, here is the grand Excel spreadsheet. Now, I give this to all my students who I work with, and hey, look, I'm old school. Just send these out. Replace your scorecard with this, print it up, and then just fill this out and email it back to me. Take a picture, send it to me, whatever you want. I can figure it out for you. But basically, we're going to look at how to keep these statistics so you can start to change the way you practice based on your weaknesses. So you know your percentage range you're looking for based on what we just went over. So you can keep that in mind too. But basically, your scores are the yellow. It's pretty easy to figure out. Fairways and regulations, you hit it, you put a dot. Count up the dots at the end, divided by 18, that's your fairway and regulations. Your distance is very important, because when you hit the fairway, how far do you hit it? If you are taking 4 irons out there, make sure you count it out. And let's say you hit your 4 iron 150 yards, put 150 and you hit the fairway. And let's say you hit driver and you hit it 280, but it's not in the fairway. You still need to put down 280, because you can start to recognize at what length do you start to lose your accuracy and stay away from that longer length to keep you in that fairway zone. But when you practice, now we know, okay, what club are you having issues hitting the fairway? And underneath that distance, there's the miss column. You need to put if this went right, if this went left, if this was a major slice, a rope hook that almost killed a duck, whatever it is, just put it down there. Your second club choice is important, because we have to know what are you choosing on your second club. Your third club choice, if it's a par 5, or even if it's a par 4 and it's your third shot, we need to start seeing what type of decisions you are making. And for each of those, there comes a miss as well. And your green and regulation, this is a very big thing, because you can figure out how many greens and regulations that you hit when you hit the fairway. How many greens and regulations that you hit when you miss the fairway. And you can see the percentage loss or gain from both of these and realize how important it actually is to hit the fairway. And that pink miss column is your total misses. So let's say you majority of your shots are right, you would just put an R. That's your majority. If the majority left, you put an L. If they're all over the place, you put a question mark. I don't know, they're all over the place. That allows me and allows you to look at your dispersions, because handicap is not necessarily how well you hit the golf ball, it is how well you miss the golf ball. Barney purplish color, we're going to look at how long was your first putt when you hit the green. If it's 30 foot, put 30. Your second putt length, if you hit that 30 footer in the hole, it's going to be a 0. It's in the hole. But let's say you miss that and you leave yourself with a 5 footer. Make sure you put a 5, because this shows you how far you can control your distances. And then at the end of the round, you're going to add up all your first putt length divided by 18. That's your average first putt length. Same thing with your second putt. That's your average second putt length. So it tells you and your coach your distance control and what length do you usually have issues with distance control. If you find out that from 10 feet, your average miss is inside of a foot, that's great. But if you're 30 feet, your average miss is 8 to 9 feet, that's not so good. So guess what length you have to practice? 30 footers. Ideally, you are looking at about a 10% difference between your first putt and your second putt. So in other words, if you have a 30-foot putt, you're looking for that second putt to be 3 feet or less. If you have a 50-foot putt, you're looking for 5 feet or less. And you're going to do the exact same for non-greens of regulation. Now, you might notice this one be a lot tighter, because if you miss the green and you have a chip, your first putt length is probably going to be shorter. But let's say you see that your first putt length of your non-green regulation is the same as your green regulation. We got some issues. We might have to look at how you practice your short game or your decision making in that short game selection. Up and down is pretty easy. How many times did you get a chance to get up and down, and did you convert that up and down? That gives you your up and down percentage. Non-bunker, we have a bunker up and down conversion, and this will give you your average up and down. So let's say you're much better at getting up and down from a bunker, which is why the tour players actually go for bunkers, because their up and down percentages is better than that. Guess where you should be aiming when you're purposely trying to miss a green? And yes, you do sometimes purposely miss the green. If it's too far to reach the green, but you see a bunker on the right side that's pin high and a lake on the left side, I'm going right for that bunker, because I know my up and down percentage conversion from the bunker is better than being short in the rough. You add it all up, you add how many pars, birdies, bogeys, doubles, others, and that gives you an idea of your overall game. So this is a great tool to use for anybody. You can be brand new or a tour player. I've used this with D1 college players and some mini tour players out there that just still use this old school Excel spreadsheet, and we work with it. It's a great communication tool for your current coach. So if your current coach doesn't have you do this, shame on them. Show this to them and start working with them. But I know this isn't a typical analysis review, but I just wanted to get this out there because I know it's New Year's. We want to learn to hit the golf ball better, but it's not necessarily about pounding golf balls, because once you get your statistics measured out, it'll show you your weaknesses, your strengths, and how do we get your weaknesses to be stronger so we can get you to your goal of ultimately enjoying this game better, hitting your numbers that you want to hit. You want to break 80? Use this. You want to break 90? Use this. You want to break 100? Use this. I promise you, it will help you. Hope that did help you. If you do like this, hit the like, share, subscribe. Other than that, I will see you next time. Don't forget this Sunday, we go Red Light Live, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Fairways and greens.